Mr. Snyder, it is with deep regret that I write this letter to you. After having sat through all 4 hours of your passion project known as Rebel Moon, I feel like this is the only proper response. Like any great historical tragedy, we must learn from this and do everything we can to make sure it never happens again. Know that anything that I say in this letter comes from a good place, that I only wish the best for you, and I accept that sometimes we make mistakes. I only wish for you to learn from this experience. I believe in you, Zack. I believe in you. Okay, so Zack, probably going to make a lot of money with this film. And, you know, good on you. I'm sure you worked very hard on it. Big space battles, huge set pieces, big action. You know, it's not an easy thing to pull off. I've never made a film like that myself, so, you know, congratulations. I assume with the budget that this passion project was given, you'll be receiving a fair whack of money. And hopefully, you know, it goes to a good cause, goes to your children, to your family and all that. If you can though, can you just set aside a little bit of money towards taking a 101 basic screenplay class? I believe there are some in Hollywood happening right now. You know, it's sometimes we have to go back to the drawing board, you know. And my eyes are not the strongest. I sometimes need to go for another eye test just to check that I can see properly. So, you know, there's no admitting defeat here. It's sometimes good to go back to the basics and start from scratch a little bit. Okay, because, you know, we had Sucker Punch first. We had Sucker Punch. And now we have this, Rebel Moon, your 2 Rebel Moon films. And you are threatening us with 4 other projects within this universe. So before you go on that journey, but please take a screenplay class, please. I'm going to just analyze a little bit about your latest one. I'm not even going to bother with going into all 2 films because quite frankly I don't want to waste my time. Okay, lesson number 1, which comes in a mere 30 seconds into the film. When you start your film, don't use the words Dagus, Velt, Mara, Pollux, or New Wadi. Yeah? Don't use those words for a few reasons. Even if you have Sir Anthony Hopkins say it, you know, Oscar-winning actor, twice Oscar-winning actor, doesn't matter how good the actor is you get, don't write that. Yeah? Don't start your film with that. It's a bit dodge. No one knows what the fuck you're talking about. Okay? No one. No one knows what that means. I know this is the 2nd film in your franchise. You have supposedly built a space universe with planets, aliens and stuff. I'm here to say that no one knows these names, what they are. Having listened to that opening monologue, I genuinely had to stop the film and dissect what you were trying to say. That's bad. That you shouldn't do that in the first 30 seconds, yeah? Yeah? You have to kind of grab people's attention with something like, I know, action scene or something that will draw in a crowd. That doesn't, as you do essentially a recap of the prior film. Firstly, I will say that not many people remember what happened in the first story. This wasn't a good recap. This was very confusing. If you want to do a recap, I reckon do like a montage, a video montage of the different planets, species and stuff. You decide to just say a bunch of names of planets and solar systems and shit that all are gobbledygook. Yeah? What's New Wadi? That's one of the planets, I assume. Yeah, what is that? We don't remember that. Zack, we don't. Yeah, this isn't Star Wars, yeah? You haven't developed this universe that much. We don't know what the fuck that is, yeah? Okay, cool. If you go back and watch A New Hope or Empire Strikes Back, he keeps it pretty simple. He mentions a couple of planet names, but for the most part, it's pretty simple the way he describes it. Very basic fantasy terms. It is not gobbledygook like Pollux or New Wadi or Mara or Velt or Dagus. Keep it simple, Zack. Yeah? So lesson number 2 about what we can do better. Make us care for the characters. Okay, so part 2 is the final chapter in this story, yeah? Supposedly building up on this big conflict between the farmers on Velt and the Imperium. And the supposed heroes of this story are these warriors and hunters that you gathered in the first one. Okay, so this is supposed to be like the big heroic film where we see our heroes defend the helpless and save the day. Yeah? Okay, so that's a good idea. That's a very good idea. A lot of great films are based on that idea. We have Seven Samurai, we have the Star Wars films, we have Lord of the Rings, we have a lot of different stories that work really well. It doesn't work here, Zach. I'll tell you why. Now, I know you probably know the names of all the characters. I hope you do, because you did write this story. I hope that you can list all your characters. I can't. There is a dude who's a general, who's played by the guy who's in Guardians of the Galaxy. Now, that is a problem, isn't it, Zach? I shouldn't say that, it's the guy from Guardians of the Galaxy. I should be able to say his name in the film. I can't. So, yeah, I don't remember any of the characters' names. I think there's about 8 of them. I don't remember any of them, really. In fact, I actually can't even remember what each one of them look like. There's the guy who went on the big hippogriff creature in the first one. There's the guy who's in love with the main character. There's this woman who looks like a cheap Furiosa from Mad Max. There's the lady with the laser swords. At the beginning of the film, you have all these warrior characters gather to try and give motivation to the farmer characters to defend themselves from the Imperium. That's cool. That's all well and good, but we don't care. So why should the farmers care? And I know you do attempt to build background behind these characters, and you say that there's an extended cut which will hopefully explain these characters. Well, firstly, Zach, stop talking out of your ass. You just need to have that in the final film, not in an extended version down the line. You do this scene where about a third into the film, you try to develop these characters with a very cheaply written scene where one of the farmer girls, again, don't remember her name, gifts all the warriors these scarves, these nice knitted scarves. That's nice. And so she proceeds to talk about all these characters by, not joking, listing out all their skills and abilities. Like, this one has a lot of bravery. This one is really good with swords. You're very honorable. Oh, this one it's like reading out a Pokemon card. That's not how you develop characters, Zach. You do it in a much more subtle way, but that's okay, Zach. We can work on that. We can certainly work on that. And then later on, you decide to do flashback sequences explaining all the characters' background stories. Firstly, this is probably leaving it a bit late to do this, Zach. Again, you have 2 films to develop these characters. It's not like you don't have a lot of runtime. You have 4 hours to do that. A little bit over 4 hours, actually. It's funny how a lot of other films are able to do that. Maybe not with 8 characters, but still a decent amount of characters, you know. Not in this one. No, you decide to just do this quick background flashback to all the characters. Very, very quick flashback. Just before the big battle, so you think that we care about these characters. It didn't work, Zach, no. And you can't really force us to care about them so late into the proceedings, a mere 3 hours into your passion project. It's a bit late for that, Zach. I don't care what the general did. I don't care what this lady with lightsabers, what her background is, even though she's crying during the scene. I couldn't care. I mean, that's good acting from her part, that she was able to cry, make it look convincing, but it still doesn't make her character very convincing because you didn't write her well enough. There wasn't much development with her character. She was the lady with lightsabers. Yeah, you see my point, Zach? Okay. That's okay. You had 2 other guys with you to do that, where you could have worked that out, but you guys chose not to do that, so that's fine. We can work on this another time. Next lesson, don't overshare exposition. Yeah, a lot of films unfortunately do this these days. Don't repeat that, don't do that, it's bad. So I'm going to bring up an example of a piece of dialogue where this was quite apparent that you overshared information and universe. The main character, the Scargiver, in one scene is talking to her love interest and says, quote,
"You remember how I told you I was raised by Belisarius? Region of the Imperium. And how I was the bodyguard to the Princess Issa?
Yes. And that you were a decorated warrior, friend of the royal family."
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to break that down, why that's a bad piece of dialogue, in case you didn't know that. Okay, so people don't talk like that, yeah? Why would she say that to this character who knows fully well who Belisarius is? He's big baddie in this universe. So we know also fully well that that is the bad guy. That's probably the only thing I learned from this franchise. That is indeed the big baddie, and he's the regent. Is it like a quick reminder to people going, yeah, I didn't really develop that well enough, so I need to remind you of that? Yeah, don't do that. Then goes on to explain that she was the bodyguard of the princess. Again, you developed this in the first film. Well, that's good. Good on you for developing that. That was good. I still remember that she was indeed the bodyguard to the princess. We don't know who really the princess was, and that the robot was somehow her protector. Again, the robot who's voiced by Sir Anthony Hopkins. I remember all that, so no, it's good that you developed that. So what you could have said instead of this big block of exposition is you could have said, have I told you about my past? Could say simply something like that. Again, not a great piece of dialogue, but a little bit more to the point and maybe a little bit more natural than saying, you remember how I told you I was raised by something, who is something, and how I was also something. And the character's going to be like, yes, I remember you said that. Yes. You just wasted 30 seconds then, didn't you, Zack? Yeah. Why did you do that? Yeah, you shouldn't do that. It's not good, Zack. It's wasting time, precious time of character development, which you could have used. You know, this is one of those moments where you actually have the characters sit there and talk to each other. It didn't quite work. That's okay, though. We can learn from this. That's fine. That is all good. So, next lesson. You like to do lots of montages of the characters running around the farm, touching the wheat, being all Terrence Malick in this science fiction opus. So firstly, Zack, I'm going to tell you, you are not Terrence Malick. I know, I'm not sure if you knew that. So why did you include these montages? They say nothing. They just come off as pretentious and pointless. Okay, cool. Yes. Great. Next lesson. I hear that you are cinematographer to this film. That's good. I like when directors also take up other roles in their film. That's cool. Means that they're passionate about the project. I might put you in for another class for maybe basic cinematography or video production classes. That's okay. It's hard to work a camera. It is. It is very hard to make a film look good. That's fine. This film doesn't look good, Zack. It looks like a fucking mess. It's like someone smeared mud all over the lens, and that's the film that you get. It doesn't look good, Zack. None of the action scenes are particularly exciting. Decide to include all these like big tanks and robots and dropships and stuff, which all look like they got ripped off from Warhammer 40k. That's okay, Zack. We all like Warhammer 40k. Henry Cavill also likes Warhammer 40k, I hear. Yeah, it's not very interesting, is it? No. Action scenes were kind of boring. There was no like. You have to make us care, Zack. None of them are. I remember there was the where you were like sliding down the Dreadnought ship, which I believe that was a scene in Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, but yeah, okay, you're doing your own one. That's the only one I only remember. Oh yeah, there was the one where the big baddie jumps through and it's almost like a World War One trench and he gets all angry and decides to stab everyone. Yeah, that was kind of funny. I like that. I was supposed to be threatening. I was laughing quite hard at that scene because of the overacting, but that's okay, Zach. At least you've got a reaction out of me for that scene. I'll give you a clap on that one. You did get a reaction out of me for that one. That was quite funny. I enjoyed that. That was very funny. Okay, I think I'm done now, Zach. There's probably other things to talk about at this point. I can't be really bothered. I hope you learned a little bit from this. But please, yes, take what you will make from this film, lots and lots of big money, and put it into a screenwriting class, in a cinematography class, and hopefully we will improve on the next film, yeah? The next 4 Rebel Moon films, yeah? Okay, yeah. Hopefully we see some growth, some, instead of going back, we don't want that, Zach. We want you to get better. Again, I don't hate you, Zach. You seem like a really nice dude, and I want the best for you. All of this came from a place of love. Sometimes we make big pooey, big stinky. That's okay. It's fine to make big stinky sometimes, as long as we learn from big stinky and make something better. Good lesson today, I think. Okay. Signing off.